Welcome to the Deep Dive. We pull apart a stack of sources to get you, well, truly informed on the biggest global shifts happening right now.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're looking at the auto industry, which is, really being shaken up. For years, maybe more than a decade, it felt like the story was just Tesla.
Right. EVs meant Tesla. Innovation, disruption, Elon Musk.
Exactly. It was all spectacle, this, Silicon Valley narrative. But while everyone was watching that, something else was happening. Quietly.
In China.
Yeah.
Right.
A giant was being built. Methodically. Very integrated. And it's basically rewriting the future of cars.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is a real deep dive into BYD, build your dreams. Our sources lay out this, almost unbelievable rise.
It really is staggering.
How this company, which, let's be honest, most people outside Asia hadn't even heard of 5 years ago, didn't just catch Tesla, but blew past them in production volume, delivery execution.
Yeah, the scale is hard to grasp.
We're going to unpack how they did it, this unique strategy, the vertical integration, and why it's now, well, frankly, an existential threat.
It is to every major automaker.
Yeah.
Detroit, Wolfsburg, Tokyo. They're all feeling the pressure, unprecedented pressure.
Just to give you a sense of the numbers, in 2020, BYD sold, around 400,000 vehicles?
Yeah.
Globally?
Roughly, yeah.
Fast forward to now, that number is over 5 million worldwide sales.
A tenfold increase.
In less than 5 years.
Well, the definition of unprecedented growth in this sector,
Yeah.
it really demands our full attention.
It does. And it's crucial for you, listening, to understand this isn't just about selling more cars. It's not just volume.
Right.
This is a total rethink of the economics, the actual physical structure of transportation. BYD's success comes from controlling the whole ecosystem.
The batteries, the chips.
Everything, the batteries, the crucial semiconductor chips, nearly every vehicle component. They essentially made themselves immune to the kind of supply chain chaos that just crippled Western and Japanese rivals recently.
So for you, the listener, understanding the strategy behind BYD is really key, because this shift, it impacts everything.
Like what?
Well, the safety of future batteries, for one, the cost, global trade dynamics, and, the basic viability of legacy automakers who are, let's face it, still playing catch-up on fundamentals BYD mastered years ago.
So we're seeing a new world order in mobility being built.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And BYD isn't waiting around for permission.
Okay, let's really get into this growth.
Yeah.
Our sources are calling it the most explosive transformation, in the auto business in 100 years.
Yeah, that puts it up there with Ford and the Model T era. Mass production scale growth. It's that significant.
Let's nail down the numbers again, because they really tell the story. 400,000 vehicles in 2020, now over 5 million. That jump is just radical. But the big headline grabber, the moment everyone really sat up, was when BYD officially passed Tesla.
And production volume, yeah. For BEVs, pure electrics, and PHEVs, plug-in hybrids combined.
That volume number was huge psychologically. But the financials, that sent a different kind of shockwave, right?
It did. There was this moment, early 2024, where some headlines screamed, BYD dethrones Tesla in revenue, which needs a bit of clarification.
Okay.
Tesla's overall corporate revenue was still way higher for that period, like $97-ish billion total. But the figure cited for BYD, around $17 billion.
What did that signify then?
It showed their dominance in EV execution, actually building and delivering cars profitably, quarter after quarter. It was about the velocity of results from selling cars, which contrasted sharply with Tesla's valuation, often tied to future promises, robots, software.
Right. BYD was about delivering now, at scale, profitably.
Exactly. The narrative just flipped from catching up to suddenly leading in actual execution.
And it's not just China, right? Their home market is huge, obviously, but this is global.
Oh, absolutely. Aggressive global expansion.
Yeah.
In 2024, like you said, outselling Tesla in places like Spain, Italy.
Key European markets.
Yeah. And making real inroads in Germany, the UK, places that were traditional strongholds for Western brands. It shows their cars have broad appeal. People are tired of waiting for affordable, good EVs from the local guys.
Which brings us to what you call their triple threat.
Right?
Yeah.
Outselling, yes, but also out-innovating and, crucially, outmaneuvering on price.
Okay, let's pause on that price point shock. Because it's stunning. Average EV price in the U.S., what, $55,000? Something like that.
Around there, yeah.
It's expensive. But the sources say BYD has models, EVs, for as low as $10,000.
Okay, hold on. That $10,000 figure needs context.
Right.
Can you buy it in New York for $10? No,
No.
Not yet anyway. That price point relies heavily on Chinese government subsidies, and it's often for their smaller city cars, like the Seagull, which is, by the way, a very impressive little EV.
But even so.
Even if you double it, say $20,000, $25,000, you're still getting a car that the American and European makers are struggling to produce for under $40,000.
And it's not like a golf cart, right? They perform well.
That's the other thing. Sources consistently say even their cheaper cars have great performance. Some models claiming, 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds.
Wow. Okay.
So that immediately throws up this huge question for every CEO in Detroit or Stuttgart. If these guys can deliver that kind of performance at that cost, how do we even compete?
The cost advantage is one thing, but you mentioned innovation too, like charging in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's part of their newer platform tech. Aims to completely kill range anxiety by matching gas station refueling times.
That's huge.
And their hybrid tech. We'll get into that more. But it's already beating established players like Toyota on efficiency metrics.
But the strategy isn't just selling cars to people like you and me.
No, that's key. They're embedding themselves.
Yeah.
Governments worldwide are buying their electric buses, their taxis.
So public transport first.
Exactly. Supplying thousands of electric buses, municipal fleet vehicles. BYD becomes part of the city infrastructure. It normalizes the brand, builds relationships with institutions. Long before the average person in, say, Frankfurt or Toronto even considers buying a BYD sedan.
Laying the groundwork from the bottom up.
Precisely. Fair. Total transport dominance.
Okay, that sets up the how. How did they do all this? And the answer seems to be this core idea.
Yeah.
Vertical integration.
That's the heart of it. Their unique, dominant business structure.
To really get it, we need the origin story. It's not what you'd expect.
No, it's a story of, strategic patience and just ruthless execution.
Founded in 1995 by Wang Chuanfu.
A chemist from rural China.
Right. Not a car guy, not a software coder. His background was chemistry, energy storage.
So BYD didn't start with cars at all.
Nope. Modest beginnings, making rechargeable batteries, nickel-cadmium first, then lithium-ion cells, for the booming mobile phone market back then.
And that start, even though it seems humble now, really defined their whole future. They didn't chase hype. They chased scale, reliability, and energy storage.
They're good at batteries. Really good.
Exactly. The chemistry, the manufacturing precision, how to make them cost-effectively at massive scale, that became the bedrock, the absolute lifeblood of the modern EV. They grabbed a huge chunk of the global battery market just by being reliable and cheap.
And then came the cars?
Then came the pivot. 2003, they acquired Qinyuan Automobile Company, which was a struggling state-owned automaker.
Seemed like a weird move at the time.
Yeah, most analysts outside China thought, what's this battery company doing buying a failing car maker? A weird diversification. But for Wang Chuanfu, the chemist, our sources call it a masterstroke.
Why?
He wasn't just buying a car company, he's buying the shell. The capability to put his energy storage expertise inside a complete vehicle framework. He saw the whole picture.
Which leads to controlling the entire process. That's vertical integration, textbook definition.
Exactly. From sourcing raw materials, figuring out the battery chemistry, making their own semiconductor chips, all the way to final assembly. Controlling that whole value chain, that is their decisive edge. Nothing else comes close.
Let's contrast that, because it highlights the difference. Tesla,
the benchmark innovator, right?
Yeah.
They still depend on outside suppliers, Panasonic, CATL, for their actual battery cells.
And the legacy guys, Ford, VW.
They rely on these huge, complex, often global networks of vendors for thousands of parts, critical electronics included.
But BYD does it differently.
Totally different. They make their own batteries. We'll talk about the Blade battery tech soon. But critically, they also make their own essential chips and most other core components in-house.
Okay, you mentioned chips. That became super important recently.
Hugely important. We're talking specifically about things like IGBTs, insulated bipolar transistors, and MCUs, microcontroller units.
Break those down for us. Why are they so critical?
Sure. IGBTs are basically the power switches in an EV. They control the flow of electricity from the battery to the motors. They dictate acceleration, charging speed.
Yeah.
Really crucial power management.
Okay. And MCUs.
MCUs are the little brains.
Yeah.
Microcontrollers. They run everything from your dashboard screen to your anti-lock brakes. Hundreds of them in a modern car.
And during the chip shortage?
During the 2021-2023 shortage, the legacy automakers were absolutely crippled. They couldn't get these specific, often low-margin but high-demand chips from their external suppliers. They had car bodies piling up, but no brains or power switches to put in them.
The BYD.
BYD had already invested heavily in making their own semiconductors. They had their own chip division, so they just kept their assembly lines running.
Wow.
Minimal delays, tighter quality control over these absolutely critical parts. And, maybe most importantly, they slashed production costs by cutting out the middleman. They operate like this single, huge, self-sufficient machine, while everyone else is trying to conduct this massive, unwieldy orchestra of global suppliers.
It's like agility versus scale, almost, and that efficiency that eventually caught the eye of someone famous for spotting value.
Warren Buffett.
Right,
Yeah.
2008 Buffett, who famously avoids speculative tech stocks.
Yeah, usually sticks to insurance, railroads, Coca-Cola, value investing.
He puts $230 million through Berkshire Hathaway into BYD for almost a 10% stake.
That was a massive moment. Not just the money, which was significant, but the signal it sent.
The credibility.
Exactly. Buffett's stamp of approval gave BYD instant global legitimacy. It told investors, potential partners worldwide, this isn't just some regional Chinese company. This is serious. It's built on real, long-term economic value. It really accelerated their global ambitions beyond just China. Okay, so if vertical integration is the structure, the foundation, then the engine driving their advantage technologically is the blade battery.
Developed entirely in-house.
Entirely. And it really just changed the game on EV safety, performance, and cost all at once.
They made a big bet on the chemistry, right? LFP.
Yes. Lithium iron phosphate, LFP, which kind of went against the grain at the time. Most premium EVs, particularly Tesla early on, went for NMC, nickel manganese cobalt.
Why NMC?
Higher energy density, basically more range per pound of battery, which was the big focus then. Range anxiety.
But LFP had other advantages.
Big ones. It's inherently safer, much less prone to catching fire, significantly cheaper to produce, and importantly for perception, it avoids using cobalt.
Which has ethical sourcing issues.
Major issues, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially sourcing from places like the Congo. So LFP dodged that bullet, which is a plus for Western markets.
But the trade-off was range initially. LFP was less energy dense. How did BYD solve that?
Through the physical design. The structure of the battery itself, it's not just the chemistry inside, it's how they package it.
The blade part of the name.
Exactly. Traditional EV batteries use lots of small cells, either cylindrical like AA battery scaled up or soft pouch cells. They group these into modules, then put the modules into a big battery pack. BYD's approach is different. They use these very long, very thin cells, and they lay them side by side, stacking them like blades in a drawer, essentially.
And this design, it uses something called cell-to-pack architecture.
Right. Cell-to-pack, or CTP, it's a brilliant bit of engineering. Instead of putting cells into modules and modules into the pack, BYD integrates the blade cells directly into the final battery pack structure.
What does that do?
It gets rid of the modules. All that extra casing, wiring, structural bits, gone. The long blade cells themselves become part of the pack's structural support.
So it saves space?
Massively.
Yeah.
It maximizes the usable space inside the battery pack, which boosts the volumetric energy density, how much energy you can cram into a given volume, so they get great range, overcoming that traditional LFP weakness without all the weight and complexity modules.
And crucially, safety. You mentioned LFP is inherently safer, but the structure helps too.
Yes. The long, flat shape of the blades provides a huge surface area, better for managing heat. Heat is the enemy in batteries. Poor heat management leads to overheating, thermal runaway, fire. That's the big EV nightmare scenario.
And BYD proved this safety. There was a famous test.
The nail penetration test. It's brutal, designed to simulate a sharp object piercing the battery case in a crash, a direct internal short circuit.
What usually happens?
Most batteries fail violently. They catch fire, sometimes explode almost instantly, because the short circuit causes runaway heat buildup.
But the blade battery?
Passed dramatically. Our sources say it remained stable. The temperature barely rose. No smoke, no flames, nothing. It just sat there. That demonstration fundamentally reset the safety benchmark for the whole industry.
Wow. Okay, safety, cost. What about longevity? How long do these batteries last?
That's another huge advantage, especially for commercial use. Fleets, buses, taxis. The blade battery boasts an exceptional lifespan. They claim it retains over 80% of its original capacity, even after 3,000 charge and discharge cycles.
And how does that compare?
Typical EV batteries, whether NMC or older LFP designs, might start showing significant degradation after maybe 1,000 cycles, sometimes less. So 3,000 cycles, that's potentially years of extra usable life.
Which means lower ownership costs.
Way lower total cost of ownership. Huge appeal for businesses running vehicles all day, every day.
Okay, let's inject a critical note here, though. we're praising the safety and cost, but LFP chemistry does have a known weakness, right? Cold weather performance.
That's the main one, yes.
Yeah.
It's a valid challenge. LFP batteries historically don't perform as well and charge slower in very cold, like sub-zero temperatures compared to NMC.
So could that hurt them in places like Northern Europe, Canada?
It's something they have to address.
Yeah.
And BYD is working hard on thermal management systems, battery heating, and cooling to mitigate this. But they're making a pragmatic bet.
Which is?
That for the vast majority of the global market, the huge wins in safety, cost, and lifespan outweigh that potential performance dip in extreme cold. Most people don't live in Siberia.
It's also worth noting Tesla saw the advantages too, right? They started using LFP.
They did. For their standard range, Model 3 and Model Y, especially those made in China and sold in Europe, they recognized the cost and safety benefits were compelling.
But there's a key difference.
A critical difference. Tesla buys those LFP cells from outside suppliers, mostly CATL, another Chinese battery giant.
Whereas BYD?
BYD maintains that complete in-house vertical integration over the battery cells, the pack, the vehicle systems, the software that controls it all. That total control lets them optimize everything, charging speed, power delivery, energy efficiency, in a way that's much harder when you're just buying off-the-shelf components from a third party. It's a more finely tuned system.
Okay, so BYD nails the all-electric battery tech, but they didn't just stop there and say EVs are nothing. They were pragmatic.
Extremely pragmatic. They understood the world isn't uniform, infrastructure gaps are real, charging isn't everywhere yet.
So while pushing full EVs hard, they also developed this hybrid system, Super DM dual mode.
Yeah, and it's proving to be another masterstroke. A really compelling alternative, not just to old gasoline cars, but also challenging the full EV approach in many markets.
Who are they challenging with this?
Two groups, really. First, the EV purists, like Elon Musk, who famously dismissed hybrids as just a transitional technology, something clunky and unnecessary.
You bet everything on pure electric.
Pretty much. And second, they're challenging the legacy automakers who thought they owned the hybrid space, specifically Toyota.
Toyota and their Prius legacy.
Exactly. BYD saw that the global switch to EVs wouldn't happen overnight everywhere. Key markets think Southeast Asia, Latin America, huge parts of the rural US and Europe just don't have widespread, reliable charging yet. A hybrid makes more sense there if it's done right.
And BYD's approach to the hybrid is different.
Fundamentally different. Most traditional hybrids, like the early Prius, were basically gasoline cars that used a small battery for a bit of electric boost, mainly for fuel economy.
Okay.
BYD's Super DM system is designed as electric first.
What does that mean in practice?
It means the car prefers to run on electric power from its blade battery for most driving. Daily commutes, city driving. It runs like an EV. The gasoline engine only kicks in when it's really needed.
Like for
long highway trips, or when you need maximum acceleration, or if you're towing something heavy. Or simply if the battery runs low. The engine acts more like an onboard generator and range extender rather than the primary power source.
So you get the instant torque and quietness of an EV most of the time.
Exactly. Plus, incredible fuel efficiency when the engine does run.
Let's get specific on that efficiency, the numbers.
Okay, take one of their big sellers, the Song Plus DMI. It's a plug-in hybrid SUV. It can achieve fuel consumption down around 6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is very good for a vehicle that size.
Impressive. But there's a deeper tech stat.
Yes, the thermal efficiency of the gasoline engine itself within that system. BYD claims 43.04% thermal efficiency.
Why is that number a big deal?
Thermal efficiency measures how much of the energy in the gasoline actually gets converted into useful work to move the car versus being lost as heat. 43% is exceptionally high for a mass-produced automotive engine. Our sources are clear. That figure surpasses even Toyota's best, most optimized hybrid engines.
And they achieve that because they control everything.
That's the key. The engine design, the electric motors, the complex transmission system linking them, the software managing it all, and of course their own blade battery. It's all designed together, optimized in real time. It delivers a driving experience and efficiency that's demonstrably better.
So this dual strategy, great EVs and these super efficient hybrids, lets them capture a much wider market.
Absolutely. It hits the cautious buyers, people worried about range, people who live in apartments maybe without easy home charging, and entire regions where public charging is still scarce.
And these hybrids are selling well.
Massively well. Especially the DMI and DMP series models. They're taking huge market share from rivals in Latin America, where that gasoline backup provides peace of mind, and across Asia, where cost and fuel efficiency are king.
What about commercial use? Taxis, ride-sharing?
It's almost the perfect vehicle for them. You get the ultra-low emissions in city centers, running on battery, which meets regulations, but you also have the gasoline engine for unlimited range during long shifts. The total running cost can be dramatically lower than pure gasoline cars or even first-gen EVs. Unmatched value proposition for those fleets.
So this puts Toyota, with its long hybrid history, in a tough spot.
Directly challenges them. Toyota built its whole modern reputation on hybrid efficiency and reliability. Now, BYD comes along with an integrated system that's arguably better performing, more technologically advanced.
Right.
It really puts Toyota on the defensive in a category they thought they dominated.
And meanwhile, Tesla's rigid no-hybrid stance looks maybe a bit short-sighted.
Increasingly costly, yeah. Musk dismissed hybrids, bet the farm on full electrification. BYD's success just proves that the global transition is messy, it's diverse, it's not happening uniformly. By offering this high-quality, pragmatic bridge vehicle alongside their EVs, BYD just scoops up a much broader customer base. Everyone from the bleeding-edge tech adopter to the most risk-averse traditional buyer.
It kind of reframes the gasoline engine, doesn't it?
Completely. For BYD, the internal combustion engine isn't the main event anymore. It's relegated to being a highly efficient backup generator, a range extender. All the real innovation focus is on the electric side, the motors, the battery, the integration. They've made the ICE almost secondary, a fallback, not the main show. So BYD's speed of innovation, plus that massive cost advantage from doing everything in-house, it's not just winning sales figures, it's letting them actually set the technology agenda globally now.
How so?
Take the Super E platform, their newest EV architecture. They showed it off delivering 400 kilometers of range that's nearly 250 miles from just a 5-minute charge.
5 minutes? How?
Through insane charging power. 1,000 kilowatts. That's 1 megawatt charging capability.
Megawatt, that's huge.
It's a technological statement. An explicit shot fired to say, we can eliminate range anxiety. We can match the convenience of a gas station.
Okay, but let's be critical here. Is the infrastructure ready for 1,000 kilowatt charging? Can the grid even handle that kind of power draw routinely?
That's the crucial question and the reality check. No, not really. Not yet. Public charging networks in the West. Tesla's superchargers top out around 250 kilowatts for most cars right now.
So 1,000 kilowatt needs.
Specialized gear. Thick, liquid-cooled cables. Massive upgrades to the local electrical grid at the charging site. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Which is why you'll likely see this tech rolled out first in specific places, maybe high-density urban centers, dedicated commercial fleet depots.
But the point is the capability.
Exactly. BYD is demonstrating they have the tech edge. They're forcing competitors to play catch-up to a standard that barely even exists in the real world yet. It's about setting the benchmark.
And they use this tech leadership to undercut on price, too, especially in places like Europe.
Oh, yeah. That affordable premium space that Tesla kind of created. BYD is blowing it up with models like the Dolphin hatchback and the Seal sedan.
How do they compare?
Feature for feature, range, build quality, they're often comparable or even perceived as slightly better in some reviews.
Yeah.
But the price tag, thousands of dollars or euros, less than the equivalent Tesla Model 3 or Model Y.
And that's making a difference.
It's game-changing, especially in more cost-sensitive European markets like Spain, Italy, even making inroads in France and Germany. Meanwhile, Tesla's still talking about a future $25,000 car dealing with Cybertruck production headaches.
The perception shifts.
Right. Tesla looks focused on spectacle, maybe overpromising. BYD looks like the relentless executor, methodical, delivering reliable products now and securing those big fleet and bus contracts for the long term.
But it's bigger than just selling cars, right? There's a whole geopolitical layer to BYD's strategy.
Huge. It's not just about shipping vehicles. It's about controlling logistics, navigating trade wars, embedding themselves globally.
Their ambition is massive, aiming for, 800,000 overseas sales in 2025?
That's the stated goal. And they're achieving it by being smart, building local production facilities where it makes sense, to get around tariffs and political friction. They want to be part of the local economy, not just an exporter.
Let's look at examples. You mentioned logistics control.
Yeah, this is fascinating. BYD started investing heavily in building its own fleet of giant car-carrying ships. Ro-ro vessels roll on, roll off.
Why on the ships?
Because international shipping is expensive, it's volatile, subject to delays, third-party price hikes. By owning the ships, BYD extends its vertical integration onto the oceans. They guarantee their own transport capacity, lock in lower logistics costs, ensure smoother delivery schedules. It's another significant cost advantage over rivals who have to pay market rates for shipping.
Okay, that's clever. What about their strategy in the West, like the U.S.?
They're already here, but subtly. That factory in Lancaster, California, it's been there for years. But it doesn't make consumer cars. It makes electric buses, trucks,
Right.
for city transit agencies, school districts, airports.
So selling to institutions, not individuals.
Exactly. It normalizes the BYD brand, builds relationships with powerful public bodies, gets their tech proven in demanding real-world applications. It ingratiates them before they even try to launch mass-market cars here.
And the big strategic play, Mexico.
That's the potential game changer for the U.S. market. BYD is seriously exploring, likely building, a massive manufacturing plant in Mexico.
Why Mexico specifically?
It's all about trade deals. Specifically, the USMCA, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which replaced NAFTA.
How does that help BYD?
Right now, cars imported directly from China face really high tariffs in the U.S., over 27.5% in some cases.
Yeah.
Makes them basically uncompetitive on price. But if BYD builds cars in Mexico, using enough parts sourced within North America to meet the USMCA rules,
Then they can ship those cars into the U.S.
with drastically reduced or maybe even zero tariffs.
That's a massive loophole.
It's a brilliant strategic workaround. It lets them use Mexico's location and labor advantages, plus the trade agreement, to attack the U.S. market directly, sidestepping the tariff wall and to protect Ford, GM, Stellantis.
Putting huge pressure on the Detroit automakers.
Enormous pressure. How do they compete on price against a BYD vehicle potentially just as good or better, built cheaply across the border and imported tariff-free? It's a nightmare scenario for them.
We should acknowledge, though, this isn't without friction. This deep embedding, the Mexican plant strategy, it raises alarms. Right?
Absolutely. From a business perspective, it's genius.
Sure.
But geopolitically, it creates tension. Washington, Brussels, they watch this very closely. Concerns about data security from connected cars, supply chain dependence on a Chinese company, the long-term strategic aims, it's all under intense scrutiny. For you, the listener, it's important to see both sides, the business brilliance and the geopolitical unease it generates.
So this is the paradigm shift. BYD isn't just another car company anymore. They're influencing city planning with their buses. They're shaping infrastructure debates. They're navigating complex international trade policy.
Exactly. And for the legacy guys,
Yeah.
Toyota, Ford, VW, those old pillars they relied on, scale, brand loyalty, reliability, they're all being tested, maybe even surpassed by this incredibly nimble, efficient, integrated competitor. BYD's hybrid tech is even redefining the internal combustion engine into a backup plan. The future really is being written in Shenzhen based on execution, not just hype from Silicon Valley. Hashtag get outro.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, the BYD story, it's not sudden luck. It's years of strategic patience. Ruthless, integrated execution. Let's just quickly recap the pillars we identified.
Sure.
First, that vertical integration, just total control. Batteries, chips like IGBTs and MCUs, giving them cost control and agility, especially during the supply chain shocks.
Right.
Second, the blade battery. Using that safer, cheaper LFP chemistry, but engineered brilliantly with the cell-to-pack design to overcome density issues, redefining safety and longevity, making EVs more accessible, more secure.
Right. Foundational tech.
And third, the Super DM hybrid system, that pragmatic masterstroke, recognizing the world isn't all EV ready yet, offering a high-performance electric-first hybrid that captures a huge market segment, one that Tesla just completely ignored.
Powerful combination.
This quiet rise, succeeding through operations, control. It's such a contrast to the noise and spectacle that defined the early EV market.
It really is. They're not catching up anymore. In many ways, they're setting the pace now, redefining what an auto company even needs to be in the 21st century.
Which leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay, if BYD's dominance really comes from controlling the whole chain, the supply lines, the factories, even their own ships, and critically, from embedding themselves in public infrastructure first, buses, government contracts, using trade deals via places like Mexico, all before they go head-to-head for your average car buyer.
Right.
Does that mean the real competition for the future of transportation isn't actually happening on the showroom floor anymore? Is it less about shiny designs and 0-60 times and more about this deeper game of geopolitical positioning and infrastructure control?
So the battle for your next car might be decided in trade negotiation rooms and city planning meetings.
It certainly looks like a huge part of it is being decided far away from the traditional car dealership. Something to think about.